I am particularly happy about today because for me, I always say I can't afford to be broke. No. And in fact, none of us here would say that when they have money in their pockets, they don't feel confident, they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel happy. We all want to become wealthy. I mean, the reason why we work hard, we break our backs, we send our children to school, we do what we do is because at the end of the day, we want to have something to show for. We want to be able to put food on the table. We want to be able to acquire whatever we desire or we need to get. We want to be able to provide for our families. And so financial wealth or financial literacy is something everybody, whether educated or not, you are interested in or must be interested in. And oftentimes the mistakes that I'd say the Christian fraternity does is we don't like to talk about these things. We feel it's worldly, or it's people who are not spiritual, or they are not kingdom minded. There are those who are particular or more focused or like to talk about money. But trust me, hello? Can I be heard, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I was muted for a while. Yeah. So, like I was saying, we think that it's for the worldly people, and so we do not put much enthusiasm, or we do not show much concern when it comes to these things. If it's spiritual, yes, we are in. But like I was saying, if you want to do that donation, if you want to go on that evangelism, you will need money to do all of these things. Yes, sometimes what a person needs, of course, is the word of God, but they also need money. They need food to eat, and you need money to buy these things. And so it's imperative, or it's important that as we do the spiritual things, we also consider how to gain wealth or how to prosper, even as it is written in the Bible. And so this evening, I'm honored to have two experts on the call. We thank the leadership for getting us these two experts, and from their biography, I can tell that we are going to learn a lot today. So, like we all know, the discussion is on investment opportunities in Ghana and globally. And the leadership put this together to provide valuable insights for all members on the call. And we know our members are made of students, employees, and entrepreneurs. So people in these categories who are looking to understand and take advantage of today's investment. That is why the leadership puts this together. You know, in a rapidly changing market, driven by changes in technology, innovation, and in Ghana, sometimes political instability as well. Investment is not something that is just associated to large corporations or businesses or just wealthy individuals. There are now diverse opportunities that exist across various sectors and for people at different stages in their careers and businesses to explore. And so today we'll explore the emerging investment opportunities in Ghana and in the global market. We'll look at for entrepreneurship, wealth creation, and then I know every investment comes with risk, and we have an expert on board today. So they will help us digest these things, and then practical steps for individuals to take in order to build a sustainable financial growth. I mean, I always say there's the theory, but more importantly is the practicals. So what are the practical steps that we'll be able to take at the end of the day in order to grow financially or grow our wealth? Please, are we clear on the subject for today? If we are, can I get a thumbs up? Can I get a yes? Good to go. Great. Thank you. I see you all, and Auntie Annette. I see you, Charlotte. I see you all. Okay, so without much ado, I would introduce our speakers for today. And they say ladies first, but I'll go with the gentleman. So I'm starting from Mr. Isaac Esau. He's a portfolio analyst with experience in investment analysis, portfolio construction, and risk management. He has a strong background in banking and finance, as well as deep knowledge of both local and international markets. So we know that today we are in good hands. He's going to teach us all we need to know and answer all of our questions. He brings valuable practical insight into investment strategies and opportunities. Okay, so please help me welcome Mr. Isaac Esau. Great, right, great. Franca, thank you for the clap. Thank you. And to the lady, I mean, I can say a lot about her, but let me begin with what I have here. So she is Madam Judith Simmons, or Miss Judith Simmons, a program and operations strategist with experience in financial services, social impact, and community empowerment. She currently works within global financial markets at a leading multinational investment bank and co-leads GERAP Africa, a youth development organization focused on career readiness, mentorship, leadership, and workforce development for young Africans. Now, I've known Judith for a while now. In fact, a long time. We go way back. I personally know her. So if I tell you she's passionate about financial empowerment, purposeful leadership, and helping individuals build sustainable financial habits and long-term impacts, I know what I'm talking about. She's a real definition of that. So please help me welcome my longtime friend, Judith Simmons. Okay, can I get the clap? Can I get the welcome? Can I get the okay, thank you. All right. So
I'm coming. Okay. Please, I'm very sorry. I was having issues with my network. I had network hitches here and there. But unfortunately, I think the first speaker was supposed to be Mr. Isaac, but because of the network issues, I wasn't able to be online. I'm trying 3 devices at the same time, and it was actually giving me issues. And I'm really sorry that the first speaker has already been introduced. Mr. Isaac, please forgive us, and I believe we will move in in the same way. So please forgive me. Actually, there was a whole issues with network. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Mommy. Thank you for that. So, that's our mother, our founder, Mami Rosemond. We call her Mami most of the time, Mama Rosemond. She actually is the founder of Glorious Women's Linkage. And so, gentlemen and lady, you are welcome. All right, so Mr. Isaac Esau, with your experience as a portfolio analyst, I mean, the little I know about portfolio analysts, you research and evaluate investment opportunities, you determine which investments are worth considering, and then you help build on investment portfolio, meaning a mix of investment designed to achieve specific goals. What would you say is your general view on investment interest of people, particularly Ghanaians? Would you say there's a growing interest among Ghanaians in investment and wealth creation? And then you can begin with your presentation today.
All right. Thank you very much, Amy. I hope I'm very audible.
Yes, please, you are.
All right. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for the question. So over the past year, we've realized that Ghanaians have increased their appetite towards investment. And it's funny how we in the investment field had always preached investment on an occasional basis towards groups. But it became very interesting to know that TikTokers were preaching the gospel better So over the past year, we've seen that Ghanaians and the local markets have also increased the appetite. And there's one last thing also I would say before I start my presentation. We've all said that the debt exchange programs that the NPP government, brought us, it was something bad, but it also became a good thing because now everyone became very cautious giving their money to government. So over the past year or 2 years, we can see that there's an increased appetite. Hence why I'm also happy that groups like yours are actually interested in inviting some of us to give a talk on such matters. I think I'm not able to share my screen. Amy, can you allow me to do that?
Okay. Media manager, can you please
I've sent a request.
Isaac to be the host? Okay. Just a second.
Okay, I'm able to share now.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes. No, it's okay. Good. It is now.
Okay, great. So I've titled this presentation From Savings to Securities. Reason being, all of us know what savings is. So to break it down and as simple as possible for everyone to relate, I'll start with a story from savings and then we end into the investment field. There is always this notion that investment is very complex, and indeed it is. But it's always good to start from the little you know, and the little you know is savings. So, what's a savings basically? If you are saying savings, it's basically putting aside money, which I'm sure all of us do. And there's this popular saying also that you save for the savings to save you the future. Unfortunately, that is not supposed to be the case because savings is supposed to be a buffer that you can rely on in emergencies, but not necessarily depleting that saving. So when you want to talk about saving, it's just putting away money from time to time. You can do that as a percentage of your salary, which I'm sure some of us are already aware. However, investing is the other layer, which most of us have heard of. And if we talk about investing, the ordinary Ghanaian would think about T-bills. But T-bills are literally like putting money in your bank accounts, like our do stated. The scenario you see in this slide is basically in case, let's say you were investing 100 cedis and the case where you're saving 100 cedis per month. You'd realize that for saving 100 cedis per month over a 10-year period with at least 2% interest, which you get from your bank, you will have about 13,000 cedis. However, if you did the same thing with investing, you'd have had 27,000 cedis, which you would say the money is too small, but consider how much you started saving. That was just 100 cedis, right? And it is very important that we understand this philosophy. Inflation is something we cannot do without. Fortunately for us, we have someone from the US on the call, and she can attest to the fact that the moment Iran and Israel and US started their little squabble, you realize that the oil prices started affecting groceries and then the likes. They still live much more because the economy is advanced. But in Ghana, you would probably say you can borrow from a friend, you can do this, you can do some practical here, and then sort out increase in prices. But that shouldn't be the case. That is not the right way to financial freedom. So investing is the way to go. Inflation over the past probably 5 years on an average has been about 20%. So it means that if 5 years ago you could buy, let's say, rice, a pack of rice for maybe 10 cedis, now it will be way higher than that. That same 10 cedis, yes, would be that same pack, but the quantity in that pack would be less. So savings actually lets you lose money over the period, while investing helps you stay ahead. I've spoken much about numbers, but this is how it looks in chart. If you were to put that 100 cedis into investment gradually for a period of 10 years, assuming you invested it at maybe 15% annual return, and mind you, this is where the investment opportunities topic comes in because T-bills alone cannot give you that 15%. It's quite unfortunate that we had inflation go as high as about 50% after COVID. But T-bills on an ordinary basis, if you tell someone in the US or someone in London that your T-bills are as high as 30% at some point, they will tell you that is madness. I mean, forgive my language, but that is the honest truth. And so inflation is usually pegged to our T-bills. So you realize that of recent months, inflation is currently around 3.4, and then you realize that your 91-day treasury bill is also around 5%. This is very reasonable. And if that's also the case, then it means that the economy is in good shape. So here comes the topic that I feel like it's very, very important that we pay attention from this slide going on. 100 cedis a month if invested in a mutual fund or any other investment opportunity, which I'll mention earlier, later in the presentation, would have given you 27,000, but you just contributed just 12,000. And the 15 extra thousand is your profit. If you did that for 20 years, you would have actually saved 24,000 cedis. Considering 100 cedis every month, you save for 20 years and you invested that into a mutual fund or any investment that gave you 15%. That was going to give you 149,000 at the end of 20 years, which is quite remarkable. Investing, when you want to start, I would say that it's good to always start with an emergency fund. And that is why I went through the concept of saving. Most of us save in our bank accounts, which means that we put money in our banks and the banks rather make profits on it and give us 2% interest. However, there are investment opportunities such as mutual funds, which invest in treasury bills, fixed deposits, and then other investments which I wouldn't want to mention to make it more simple for all of us. It is managed by people like me. So if you realize that some investments will say before you invest, you have to talk to an expert. The expert is where I come in. The expert is where Judith comes in. This is where we're able to tell you that an emergency fund is something which can grow better than your bank accounts. What is this emergency fund in the first place? It's usually about 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. And it is very, very, very important. And I would say very, very important that as a group of women starting our investment journey, probably some of us have already started investing. And the mistake most people do is that they start investing without having something to fall back on. So, for example, I'm not married, but let's assume I'm married and I have kids' school fees to pay. I'm aggressively investing, but for some reason, my job goes sideways. I'm out of job for the next 3 months. I have kids' school fees to pay. I have a family to manage. If I don't have an emergency fund, it means that I'm going to tap into that investment I made, which necessarily doesn't mean that I would have made profits, and I'll get there. There are certain investments, such as what people did in the past, where we realized that DDP came in and we're crying. There was panic withdrawal, and these investment companies were not able to give them their money back. Reason being that the money they gave them was put in a very volatile asset. Volatile means that today the value can be 10 cedis, tomorrow the value can be 5 cedis, which is a very wrong mindset when starting investment. So I'll just wrap up with this slide by saying that before we start investing, you should build an emergency fund. This should usually be around 3 to 6%, 3 to 6 months of expenses. The reason is maybe you might lose your job, maybe there's an illness that will come in, there's maybe a family member who will need help of any sort. You can tap into that emergency fund without destroying your future goals or tapping into money meant for something else. There are 3 goals which I would like to categorize our investments. So we are done building the emergency fund. After the emergency fund, you should sit down as an individual, which I'm sure all of us have our lives up and going. As students, as entrepreneurs, as employees, you should have goals, which sometimes, this is a very delicate topic, but in some cases, they say, That's the usually the word that goes around, that don't think about tomorrow, and that God will provide. However, we know tomorrow is not for us. But it is very, very, very important that as individuals, we sit down as a church, as a group of friends, we sit down and then we decide that this is where we want to be in the next 3 years. This is where we want to be in the next 10 years. This is where we want to be in the next 50 years. And yes, even though tomorrow is not promised, there is a plan. And I'm glad we are all religious here. With those plans, you commit them to God. So here's the two things. You are planning, giving the plans to God, and at the same time putting in effort. At all costs, you would achieve something. It is better than sitting down and folding your arms and saying, when you get your salary at the end of the month, you wouldn't plan. You don't have an aim, and you would go through life as it is. So, I mean, you have to set three different kinds of goals: the short term, the medium term, and then the long term. The short term can be for rent. For those of us in Ghana, we know that people do take 2 years of advance. So you can start planning towards that. And with that, you can put it in T-bills. Don't keep it in your bank account. And here's the disclaimer, or the side point. Personally, I have very little cash in the bank. Reason being that the bank won't give me, they will keep my money even if I have about 5,000 cedis or 10,000 cedis. At the end of the month, they will give me probably 10 cedis or 100 cedis max. While if I put my money in a money market, a mutual fund, or a fixed deposit, I would have gotten more than that. So you should sit down as an individual, as a church, as a group of friends outside the meeting, and then have a short-term goal. The mid-term goal can also be buying a house, depending on your age. Because if you are 40 years old, buying a house wouldn't be a medium term. That might actually be a short term, because you are heading towards retirement and you want to actually move out of your rented apartment. So your age also matters. For money you need within 3 years, treasury bills I've mentioned. For money market funds, these are managed by experts like me. And I'm sure when I get to the end of the presentation, I'll also mention other avenues which you can find these money market funds. Fixed deposits are also done by banks. For your 3 to 10 year goals, you can look at government bonds, you can look at corporate bonds, and you can look at mutual funds also. I would like to dwell on balanced mutual funds, because government bonds and corporate bonds usually require some huge amounts of capital, which you might not have at the time. So for balanced mutual funds, you realize that they do a bit of equity, that is buy shares. And I'm sure at this point, we all know what shares are, because we've heard of MTN, we've heard of companies like Goil and then the likes. These are companies that have listed on a stock exchange, so you can own parts of them. Their prices appreciate from time to time, so you can get gains from that. MTN, for example, also pays for 10 years or more. If you want to put your money away for, let's say for me, who is very young, I don't have any short-term goals that's really keep very little cash in the short term. I'll focus more on long term, because I'm looking to be financially independent, maybe at age 50. For some of us who want to retire earlier, for those of you who would want to start your own business, you want to quit working for someone and want to start your own business at a later age, you can look at shares that's on the local front. MTN, Goil, EcoBank, they are names which, when you talk to your advisor, and after this call out, I'll make my number available. You can talk to Franca. She would also let you have my number, and we can talk from there. But it's very important that you understand these things. Don't just buy the shares because a TikToker said MTN has gone up by 100% and you go and buy it. On the global front, this is where the juice is. So for global shares, they are not cedi related. So for example, if I want to invest for the next 10 years and I buy shares in maybe Google or Amazon or Microsoft, my cedi is converted to dollars, which means that anytime the cedi depreciates, I am getting some form of income. And aside the fact that the cedi is going to depreciate, when the price of these stocks also go up, I'm getting some form of appreciation also. So it's a two-way win for global shares and ETF. For equity mutual funds, that will also come back to experts like me who would manage the funds for you. So all you have to do is give me the money, and at the end of the month, you realize that your money is going up or down. But just know that 10 years is a very long time. So there are things you have to avoid doing. Stop panicking, remaining focused. You have to, because yes, your money might be down today, but you know that 10 years you would have value. There are companies which have been around for more than 10 years. And I'm sure when MTN came up with the IPO some years back, I was a kid. If someone bought maybe 100,000 shares, the person will have millions of cedis by now. So that's what 10 years looks like. Lastly, I would like to wrap up with this guide. So for those of us who are already investing, if you're a young professional between the ages of 20 to 30 years, this is basically an allocation I would give you. You should put 40% of your income. So assume I'll work with numbers. I earn, let's say, 10,000 cedis every month. I'll put about 4,000 cedis. I'll advise you put about 4,000 cedis in Ghana shares, put about 3,500 cedis in US stocks, and then 25% in Ghana Treasury bills. Reason being that you have a long time till retirement and you don't have any immediate expenses. Let me put it that way. And this means that you have to be also diligent. There's this thing that Christians, it hurts much, but Christians always take it for granted. Honesty and diligence and discipline with money is something we are not good at. We take it that if we do not give our friend in need, we are actually bonity modern, canister, and God frowns on someone who doesn't give, who is not a cheerful giver. However, there are ways to actually structure these things, and this cuts across. If whether you are 20, whether you are 30, whether you are 40, this is what you should do, honestly. In a month, when you take your salary, be very deliberate about it. If, let's say, it's 100 cedis you can spare out of your salary, that look, at the end of every month, I'll have 100 cedis on standby. If there's someone in need, I'll give it to the person. That works perfectly than actually investing and then touching your investment. That destroys the whole purpose of investment. So you have to be very disciplined. You have to be diligent. If you say you're going to do 40% every month, do 40%, and don't do 40% and a friend comes, oh, me watch me buy school fee. Then you take 10% out of it and then give to the person, reducing your investment. Mind you, all of us, when we do well, everyone else does well. So our circle of friends does well. Imagine if I succeed, I'm a billionaire. That means that in that capacity I have grown myself to get to, my other friends can also benefit when they come to me asking me for $1 million cedis loan, because that will be much easier. But if you are not disciplined and diligent from the start, you realize that you would blame your failures at the end of the day on other people, saying that you did good and you didn't end well. But literally, you have to be disciplined with your investment. I'll share the slides. So for the things I didn't touch on, you can also have them. The investment opportunities, I've mentioned stocks already, I've mentioned treasury bills, I've mentioned mutual funds. But with all of them, you ask, where can you access it? On our markets, there are various banks which offer various products, but I'll stick to the ones which are easily accessible. So I'm sure most of us have heard of Achieve. If not, it's available on the Play Store. All these apps are available on the Play Store. So if you are looking to invest for short term or build a certain savings, let's say an emergency fund, Achieve and IC Wealth are the best places to go, because then you know that at the end of the year you have about 13% or 14% growth. And if you look at the earlier slides, if you do that for about 10 years, you're looking at a very large sum of money. For Blackstar and Bamboo, these companies, and even for equity mutual funds, We have the local equity, and then we have the foreign equities. And there are mutual funds which also have a blend of them. So I wouldn't want to go much into detail on that, but Blackstar and Bamboo, if you've already started investing, these apps also provide global access. So on these apps, you shouldn't worry about having $100 to own a share which is worth $100. You can actually own a part of that $100. So which as little as maybe 100 CD, 200 CD, you can still make deposits and invest. I've spoken a lot, but what are the takeaways from this presentation I've done? This week, heading into this week, I would like us all, for those of us who haven't invested before, and for those of us who have been stuck in the savings environment for a very long time, and for those who are already investing, it will be very good. I'm sure if you're already investing also, you are combining wrong assets, in the sense that, assuming, let's say, you are investing for a 10-year period and you were investing in T-bills, that is a very wrong asset to invest in. A 10-year period should be looking at assets like equities, right? So it will be good that you probably re-strategize. And this week, what I want us to do is calculate your emergency fund targets. My emergency fund is literally 10% of my total investment. So if my total investments as it stands now is 10,000 cedis, my emergency fund is 1,000 cedis. Reason being that I don't have any dependents, right? And I don't foresee any school fees I have to pay because I'm very single. But if you are a mother, if you are someone who has maybe your younger sibling you're taking care of, they can come asking for money. I mean, for anything. So, which wasn't budgeted for. So you can actually take a larger chunk, right? Which is usually 3 months expenditure or something of that sort. If you do not have your emergency fund intact, do not start investing. I would repeat, if you do not have your emergency fund intact, do not start investing. You can open the second thing you can do this week is opening a money market fund account. There's a difference between money market and fixed income, which I'll just say, when you go to the investor or the broker or whoever you talk to about the investment, insist that you want a money market fund to invest your emergency fund in. And lastly, write down your 3 biggest financial goals. At any point in time, we would want to get married, want to buy that car, we want to buy that house, we want to take that child of ours to a very big school, probably an Ashesi or even University of Ghana, to pursue medicine or anything of that sort. Write down those 3 biggest financial goals that would need cash and add realistic timelines to them. So if you don't add an unrealistic timeline to, let's say, you earn 1,000 cedis and you tell me you want to maybe build a house in the next 3 years, a salary of 1,000 cedis would not support that. So you put a realistic timeline to a realistic cash flow. And then the last thing is you match each goal to a time horizon. If you know you cannot do 1,000 cedis to build a house in 3 years, just state a realistic horizon. Maybe I want to do that in 20 years. Your age will limit you, so you have to now talk to an investment advisor to tell you exactly what to do. But this will basically be it. I'll end with an advice. Let's not limit ourselves to the current salaries we earn. Salaries, it's not everyone who is meant to work for someone. So if you are doing your own job, yes, I've mentioned that when you start at the end of the month, what's if you are on a daily basis? So don't feel left out. But a salary is just provides a certain job security for you and a certain protected income. But on the side, you can do something, be creative, do something to increase your income at the end of the month. Because with all this investment, it all builds on money. And yet it's kind of easy. That is what the rich people say. So I'm sure Daniel Ofori, which has been a case that a certain individual has won a case against EcoBank and all sorts of not. He was investing about 6 million cedis back where somewhere 2008. Imagine that 6 million cedis compounded 13% or 30%. That is more money than 1,000 cedis at that 13%. So as individuals, as a church, let's all try as much as possible to increase our income in legitimate ways, right? Not trying to cheat someone or anything, but yeah, let's try and do that, and then we can enjoy our investment journey. Thank you very much. I'll try and end my presentation. Any questions, please?
Okay. Very great presentation, Mr. Isel. This was insightful and we are grateful. But I have a quick question. So how can an ordinary individual, I would say the student, the employee, the entrepreneur, the market woman, how can we identify good investment opportunities and avoid risky ones? Because you're an expert, you make all the analysis before you invest. On a normal day, I wouldn't have that time and effort to do that, and I may not be able to afford the services of an expert. So for an ordinary individual like me, who is probably a student, how do I identify a good investment opportunity from a risky one?
Okay, so to answer that question, I'll answer it in two forms. I'm glad you mentioned if you're a student. As a student, meaning you are tech savvy, you improve yourself by learning, right? I would advise that as a student, don't limit yourself to what you are studying in school, but find interest in where you want to put your money before you even come and talk to me. Because for me, I would advise you, I can advise you, I can tell you go to an expert and he will advise you, even if you can afford or even it's free. But if you yourself don't understand what he's advising you to do, you might end up giving your money to him, and 10 years later, you come back, oh, this cannot confirm. But so I hope you get it.
Yeah.
So as a student, take the liberty of reading, just random. And funny enough, we have AI embedded in Google search and all. When I started this journey, I had no idea about investments and I did certain mistakes. But I realized that the more maybe I Google what is investment, I'll be there in my notification on my Android phone will pop out, maybe this and this and that, or maybe a news, an article, something brief. And I read and build my knowledge. So as a student, I'll just advise that you read and then you ask questions. The second part is very easy. I prefer you talk. Talking helps a lot. In Chi, there's this adage, one tongue in area, one word run or something. Pardon me for my Chi. But if you talk, if you have friends, if you circle yourself around women like you who would organize seminars like this, if a friend of yours is to ask, oh, I have this 1,000 cedis, I want to put somewhere, you can actually suggest, oh, you can talk to this friend of mine, maybe Isaac. He's willing to talk, like guide you. Do you get it? So you should talk to people who would help your journey. That's why we say make good friends. So as a market woman, as an entrepreneur, if you have no idea of how to even read, talk to people about, oh, I mean, I want to do a can we say physical, and then from time to time, you might find some bad notes. And now, oh, I said men's would cry weird. But in all those things, you find good advice and then you can talk to an expert. Good thing is that I'll offer my services for free. So, yeah, basically. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, Mr. Isel, I'll come back to pick your mind on one or two questions later. But let me move on to Ms. Simmons. And as I engage Ms. Simmons, please, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat or you can raise your hand and then we'll allow you to speak. But Ms. Simmons, you are a financial empowerment expert. Why is financial empowerment important for the young people today? Why do you think it's important for us today?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hear me? Okay,
Yes,
thank
please.
you. Thank you very much and really enjoy. Thanks to the organizers, the founder, yourself, and everyone involved in organizing this. And then thank you so much, Isaac, as well. I have enjoyed so much, honestly. Why is it important for us to be financially empowered? I think I would take it from my personal story. So, think you can't talk about financial literacy and not talk about my name. All my people, the people around me kind of know how passionate I am when it comes to building your wealth, right? It started from my own experience. So I graduated from UCC. That's how I know Na. She's a family member in school, and then graduated as the best finance student for that matter. I came overseas to start with my career, and then true story, first 2 months I was shadow of myself with my finances, right? I didn't really know how to save. I didn't have the financial discipline. It got to a point where even in the middle of the month, I'm looking forward to payday. I'm looking forward to when is the next payday, because I've squandered my money. For some reason, I just did not have a control over my finances. So it wasn't the best. That was how come, that was, the turning point for me. I started researching, like Isaac said, I started researching into, how to save, how to even budget, the simple basic things. Started podcasting, started reading a lot, listening to podcasts, listening to people's personal ways of saving, building healthy, sustainable financial habits. So I think it's really important because, at the time, and the funny thing is, my salary will come in pounds, and then I'm already converting into Ghana cedi. So you see how I would not be frugal with my money, because I'm still seeing myself as though I'm in Ghana. However, I'm even spending, in the UK. And so at that point, I realized that it's not really about how much you earn. How much you earn is important. It's very good. However, it's how much you can keep, right? So I always say that if you are bad, you've got bad financial habits, earning in thousands, in hundreds, you're still gonna have bad financial habits when you earn in millions. There are people that had really good amount of money, were born into wealth, were given the opportunity, to see huge sums of money, but because they are not financially empowered. And what does financial empowerment mean? Knowing how much comes into your hands, knowing how much goes out, having a control, having that independence of your money. Understanding basic things about your money, about your finances, like Isaac said, your investment opportunities that are available to you, your savings, and then being able to talk about them, right? It's very important. I see it as important because everything you would want to know you do in life, if you've got the money, you are able to move, right? But if you've not got the money, all the dreams, all the wishes would always sit in your cart, or it would always be a wish list. So I think financial empowerment is a crucial thing. Sadly, it's not taught in school. That is the sad part. It's not taught in school, because how dare me become, graduate as the best, but then still did not know. So it's something that the onus is on you to learn it. Like, you need to champion your own financial empowerment. Know your finances, understand how money comes into your hands and how it goes out. Being accountable for every penny that goes out of your pocket is what I would describe it as. Yeah.
Okay, that was great. So would you say many young people do not invest because they have no knowledge or close to little knowledge on investment, and so that is the major reason why people do not invest or plan financially? Would you say that?
I think we can look at it from different angles. I wouldn't think that is the sole reason, but that's a big contributing factor. It's the lack of knowledge is a big thing, right? In our space. But then it's beautiful now, because I think yesterday I was speaking with some of my analysts in Europe, and then they actually told me about Blackstar. I had never heard of Blackstar. I knew about IC Wealth. I knew about Bamboo. but then never heard of Blackstar. So they were talking about investments, and I see how things have evolved, conversations have evolved, just like Isaac was saying. TikTokers are even now, advising people. So, and we live in a day and age where we can't continue to give the excuses, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't say that the lack of information or the knowledge is the sole contributing factor. It is a big factor. There are some people that would just hear those words and never research about them. So for instance, Isaac has talked at length about some investment opportunities. Some people just hear T-bill, treasury bill, stocks, ETFs, but never bother to research about it or look deeper into it, right? So whereas there are some people that don't even know at all. And then also, there are some people, and I think this is more like personality thinking, where there are some people that should I even say that it's also linked to their kind of risk profiles as well. So they will hear about it, but kind of unbothered at all. They are quite unbothered. And so they're just living life to chance. Like, okay, let me just, when I start earning, I will start saving something. Some people don't even know. So I think that I wouldn't say there is not awareness. At least there's some level of awareness for people that are interested in are doing. However, we still need to, do more. So initiatives like what you are doing is what is going to help in bridging that gap. So that's what I would say on that.
And talk about Gear Up. I know you are a founding member, so that makes you an entrepreneur. And you've done well. You've won yourself some partnership from very high companies. What would you say are the qualities that make entrepreneurs more attractive to investors and partners? For instance, I told you we have entrepreneurs on the call, and so they may need investors to invest in their business or need partners or sponsorship. What do you say are the qualities that make entrepreneurs more attractive for investors to come on board or partners to come on board to support them?
That's a brilliant question. I think I would give maybe 2 or 3 points on here. So Gear Up isn't a commercial organization. Let me just put it that way. It's an NGO where we train students with support, quality education, some of the things that to supplement or complement the university curriculum and then get them out into the jobs that they want. It's purely an NGO, but like you said, we've got sponsorship from high global companies that are, if you are to convert the sponsorship, is in thousands of dollars. So the first thing I would say is that it's your USP, right? I'm going to talk as though it's a business venture. What is your unique selling proposition? What do you stand for? Like that, as a business, it should be at the forefront of, or your fingertips. Like, what do you stand for? What is the value you are given? So because if you come to me to sponsor you or to partner with you, I need to buy into your vision, right? I need to find value in what you are given. So if you're a business person or an entrepreneur, you need to be able to, your USP, your unique selling proposition needs to be clearly cut out. Like it is that selling point, right? Again, one thing that I see that I think we are doing better now as Ghanaians is our integrity. In the past, I mean, I'm not still old, but then I entered the industry quite early. So I have like over half a decade experience. I've had real struggle with people that it was a dent on their integrity. Okay, they would tell me this is what they are delivering, this is what they are doing, and they will not do. I will never recommend such people. So I think when you're building your brand, think about integrity as well. It's so important. Like, let your yes be yes, your no be no. Character is something that in a day and in our modern day, like now that we've got AI, trust me, the technical things, a lot of AI can do a lot of things. What AI cannot do is your ethics. What AI cannot do is your character. What AI can't do is your integrity. So when how you are representing your business is so important. When you have said this is what you are going to produce, you produce that, and then you track. The last thing I would say is you track your results. So as an example with GearUp, right, we are able to speak to these global partners because we've got track record. We are able to tell how many students we have impacted, what are the impacts like literally we have given out. And success is a best-selling story. It speaks for itself. So these people are able to, to invest in. And then maybe a bonus point would be negotiation skills. I tell my analysts one of the things, and I read a lot. So I was reading this book, The Act of Negotiation. We all need to learn it. Like it's a powerful thing. Even like the kind of investments opportunity that you want to go into, your ability to negotiate, the ability to ask questions on them is so important, so that your money doesn't go down the drain like that. So as a business person, you need to be able to negotiate as well. You need to be able to sell, persuade people to buy into that vision. Yeah.
Okay, that was great. Thank you. And still on investment for our entrepreneurs. Investing in their business is also one of the things they need to look at. How can they build a sustainable business rather than focusing on short-term profits? Okay, so they are investing into their business. Are they to follow the laid down procedures or processes like Mr. Aesel stated? Would that work for them, or is there something else they need to do in particular as entrepreneurs in order to build sustainable business? And Mr. Aesel, I'll take your mind on this too.
Yeah, I would. I think it would depend on the stage of your business, right? There are different stages and there are different ways of growth strategies. So, say for instance, you are just starting off something. One thing I've realized with small scale businesses is that they're already hatching their eggs before it was the adage. I really can't put it together, but they count their eggs before it hatches, basically. So I've heard someone that even before the profit came in, they knew what they are going to buy. They knew what they are going to, It's so good to practice delayed gratification. Like, honestly, you're not pleasing anyone. You are so not pleasing anyone. It's just even I think I came from Ghana last week, and no, this week on Tuesday. Then someone saw me, and then the kind of comments they gave, it was like, as though there's a certain social bracket they had put me in, that I had to please, right? It's very important that you understand the stage in which your business is in. If your stage, and we have this life cycle of a business, right? If you are in the growth stage or the early stage, my mind can set me right. It's like the early stage, the growth stage, the maturity stage, right? If you are in the early stage, you need to understand growth. So, for instance, some of the investment strategies that you could be implementing when you get the profits, you are putting back the money into the business. That is an investment. Longevity of your business. You are looking at the sustainability of your business, right? It may not be so nice because you are looking at how much. I was thinking I could get that money so that I could buy a handbag, I could buy something. But with the vision you have in mind of growing your business, that may not be the prudent, action. It may be that you have to plow back that money into the business so that you would increase your capital, and now you can get more inventory or more stocks, and then as the business grow as well, some of these things, the profit you gain from the business, you can invest in some of these opportunities that Isaac had, spelled out to this evening. So you don't really need to, for me, I would think that you have to understand which stage that your business is in first, and then you can pick up the investment opportunities. I'm not so sure in Ghana could have some advantage, because we have a very efficient system, a very strict system, where if you're a business, you are running a business, you have to be registered and then get some tax benefits. If you are registered as a liability, limited liability, there are some tax benefits that you will get, unlike if everything is flowing under your personal. But I guess it's quite different in Ghana, so I wouldn't want to go there. So in a nutshell, understand the area you are in or the stage that your business is in. If it is an early business or still in the growth phase, maybe plowing back your profit is still investment, right? If it is in a mature state where the business can fund for itself, I think whatever you get from it, you can still put it into your personal investment and so on. I'll pause here for Isaac.
Okay, Isaac. You made mention of some shares or stock you can buy. You made mention of MTN, GCB. Can businesses also go into these companies, or invest into these companies, or other specific ones that you would advise entrepreneurs or businesses to invest in?
Okay, thank you very much. So to pivot from where Judith ended, as a business, I think there are people who have approached me, business owners who have actually approached me on investment. And sometimes I look at the business they're doing, and I tell them that, look, don't come and invest. Put that money back into your business. Because these people who have approached me, they are actually diligent people who work their day and night off. And I can tell you for a fact that there was this client, before I entered into asset management, I used to be a teller. And there was this client that the average amount he'll bring to a bank within a week probably is around 500,000 to 1 million cedis. He's into iron rods and cement. And the business started very small, but he was very diligent, and he does it with his sister. So personally, before I even talk about you as a business owner moving your money or doing a bit of investment, I would say that grow your business, because the investing is literally you putting your risk as a business owner on someone's head. So as a business owner, the risk you face is that if you are lazy at any point in time, you don't eat, or your business collapses, right? But if you want to go to bed and say, oh, it is kind of shitty bills into my main quarter, yes, you get that peace of mind, but then you transfer that same risk to the person you've handed over that money to. So assuming you bought MTN, if the price of MTN drops, you face that same risk of losing money. So as a business owner, just be disciplined and then be diligent with the money, and God will bless your hands. Literally, that is where I would end with that. Now to the avenues. If your business is not registered, I mean, funny enough, we work in a country where we always say laws don't exist. But laws really exist. You will never find out till you find yourself in that situation where you're in trouble, right? So you how do you call it? If your business is not registered, that is where the trouble is. But if your business is registered, yes, you can approach an asset management firm or a broker and tell them that you want to open an account the same way you open a bank account, just that this is an investment account. And then you can proceed on investments. However, the various investments I would suggest, I mentioned a broad name like MTN because that's what we are all familiar with, and it's a very good name. But however, it's going to depend because for maybe a business owner who is not looking for price appreciation, who is looking for just an income, dividend paying stocks, if I say dividend paying stocks, shares of companies that pay cash out of their profits on a quarterly basis, on a yearly basis, will benefit that person more. I don't want to go much into the detail because people assume that, let's say I buy 10,000 shares of MTN, and let's say I bought it at 1 cedi, so I invested 10,000 cedis, and my money grows to 20,000 cedis on that same 10,000 shares. When you sell off, someone say, "Mami, 10,000 cedis extra profits in the." But however, in shares, you're not taking. It's not like T-bills where you get a gain and you take out the profits. And the underlying factor is you own 10,000. Okay, I've even gone far. As a business owner, you go to the market and you buy 10 oranges, right? At maybe 1 cedi. So that's 10 cedis. And in between maybe today and Friday, the prices of those oranges go to 2 cedis. At the end of the day, you still have 10 oranges in your hands, right?
Yeah.
But the value of those 10 oranges is now 20 Ghana cedis. So when you put it into shares, if you sell maybe 2 oranges, you've reduced the number of holdings or how much assets you had. Even though you think, yes, I've taken profits, but you've literally reduced the holdings. So for investment in stocks, I'll just say you have to talk to an investment advisor to let you know what your options are based on your needs, based on your risk appetite. If you're a young entrepreneur, fine, you can go for a risky one. And it also depends on what you want to use the cash for. If you're looking to do expansion, you're not looking for the income where the stock will pay dividends, you're looking for expansion. You should also give the investment advisor your time horizon. So there's a lot of technicality involved in investing, which I wouldn't want to bore you with it. But in any case in time, know what you want to do and then talk to an investment advisor and you'll be fine. But business is always that. Business you're doing is always that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Please, I have a question.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Please, I want to kindly find out. I recently received, before I ask my question, I have been on Black Star for 2 years ago or so, yeah. And I must say that it's a very good platform to invest. So with that, my Glorious Women's members, Glorious Women, please, you can venture into that area. Is of the issues, especially in Ghana. Most of us have lost our trust in investments, but I must say that being on Black Star since I think 2 years, yes, 2 years ago, I must say that it's a good platform to invest. So if you're looking for a place to invest, I think you can just invest in the Black Star. It's very good platform. I think Francisca is also there, and she even she took me there, and so you can please trust that and then invest any small money you have. And another thing I want to kindly find out, I recently received, I think a week ago or two, I received an email from Casapreco that I think they are selling some investment opportunities or so. But because we have booked you to be here, I wanted you to come and then I will verify whether it is a genuine avenue or not. I received, I think 2 weeks ago, that they are investing, they are selling some investment opportunities, and then I wanted to verify whether it is true or is some kind of spam that I have received. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mami. So yes, it's actually a legit notification you got. So what is happening for the ordinary person who hasn't even heard of it? What is happening is that when you set up a company, usually it's private, meaning that if you make profits, it goes to you only, right? Now, Casapreco over the years has a very matured structure where they had investors, right? Now, all these investors were private, and whenever they wanted to raise money, they came through the corporate bonds I mentioned earlier in my slides in my presentation. They came to market and asked that we should give them money, but these were bonds, meaning that they had a tenor. If, let's say, it's like loaning them a certain amount of money for them to use for their operations, right? But from time to time, whenever they came to us, whenever we met them, I think we the fund managers met them, we always ask them that, look, your company is doing so well, you're making profits, and I can tell you for a fact that they are profitable than a bank I know in Ghana. Casapreco is that profitable. And they always come and they want to raise a bond, and we tell them, look, gentlemen, look, it's good if you give out equity, because equity is cheaper. Equity is actually giving a part of your company to the public at no interest rate, literally, right? So we always told them that that's a cheaper way of financing, so they should heed to that call. And this year, finally, they heeded to that call. So what they are doing currently is that they are giving out a part of their company to the public, that if you want to own a part of Casapreco, you are allowed to. And the price for each share is 120 pesos. So you can buy as many shares as you can. And then for Casapreco, currently, I haven't heard if they'll pay dividends or whatsoever. But I can guarantee you for a fact that 120 pesos would go up, because Casapreco is a very good company. The liquidity on the market, which is the buy and sell, which is also a different topic I'll mention later, but how our market is structured, the prices do go up very quickly. So I'll just say that, yes, I'll just end the there and say that Casapreco is a good company, it's a legit certification we've got, and they are just asking that we come and buy part of the company so they can use the funds to do other projects, expand to, I think, Nigeria and other countries. So yeah, basically that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac. I'm very grateful for this confirmation. I was patiently waiting for you to come to confirm that email I received about 2 weeks ago. And so I think I will then go through, because I have not even taken the time to read through it. I was waiting for you to give me the go ahead. So we'll see what happens. And so I think today has been really educative time. And so we want to find out that in case somebody wants to find out more about investment opportunities, should we give out your number, or Francisca, you are the intermediate, we should give Francisca's number out for them to reach out to her, then she will transfer them to you, which one is which. But before that, I must say that Francisca is somebody I have worked with at the pension industry before coming to Europe. And so, and it was through her we got Mr. Isaac, and it was through Emilia we got Madam Judith, and she's in US. And they are all genuine people. You know that GrowLink, we deal with people with integrity and people we can trust, because we don't want someone to come and cry on my neck and rain prayers on my head. And so we deal with genuine stuff. So whatever we are dealing with, don't be afraid that somebody will steal your money or anything. In case anything go wrong, you can reach out to me. That is the truth. I'm putting my head on the line. I must say that I'm putting my head on the line, because I've worked with Francisca in the pension industry before coming to Europe. And so dealing with her and dealing with Isaac is like, I've heard about Isaac so many times before coming to Europe, but I think today is the first time of witnessing his speech and everything. And so contacting him, he will direct you not to invest your money in the one that they'll say when you pay 100 cedis, that 1 week after you get 100 cedis is because it's greed. And you know that it's not possible to invest 1 cedi and the next day you get 1 cedi. It's not possible anyway. Even in business, you cannot get 1 cedi. It's not done that way. And so the ones that you take your time. Recently checked the black star I'm talking about. Before we bought was something little, but I checked the statement they sent me, I think somewhere in April. Then I was shocked that wow, because I think the first time they gave us the interest, what was the name, the returns, I called fast myself and asked, this returns dear, it's not even up to 100 cedis. I was so sad. But in April, after 2 years in April, when I saw the statement, I was smiling and said, wow. So this, if I didn't buy it, it was just a little thing we bought, but it's okay. So if I spend that money, I wouldn't get the returns. And that is something that we encourage all of us to do as women. Please save. Give to the church, give to the work of God. Even if it's one thing you can put it down, do that. It's a commitment, and it takes discipline to do that. Myself, I've started a business in Europe, and these days any money I get, because I have to use money to do business. Business goes with money, and so any money I get now goes into that business, also form of investment. Do you get it? It's also form. So when you are also having it, invest in your business, because when you invest into that is when people will see it attractive to maybe invest into it also, or to partner with you. But when they see that your business is nothing to write home about, it will be difficult. And so I will encourage all of us to invest. No matter the amount, just invest. I've told myself that these days I love chocolate a lot, and there is this hot chocolate that they sell in Switzerland. Switzerland is a land of chocolate, and every time I make my Mr. buys, someone buys the hot one, and that one is, the sugar is less, so it's nicer than the one that they sell in the shop. That one has a lot of sugar. But these days, when I could buy 3 times in the month. But now when I buy one, because the money needs to be somewhere else, so when I buy one, I don't buy it again, just to save. And today it came to mind, oh God, I've missed this chocolate to buy. You remember that no, money needs to be invested and it has to go somewhere else. And so it takes discipline. Seriously, it takes discipline to invest. If it is one city, put it down. Just see in the next 1 year, or at the end of the year, you can start it tomorrow. Calculate every day, put 2 cedi down. Every day, put 2 cedi, and calculate it at the end of the year. By December 31st, you see the amount of money you will get. You may think that, oh, maybe I don't have money, or maybe but you buy data, you buy credit, you buy airtime, you buy, like, if somebody asks you right now, give me 1 cedi, you will still find the 1 cedi to give it to the person. So it takes a lot of discipline to save. You need to help people. Me, I personally help people a lot, but you should also, as Mr. Isaac said, know when to do that, because I don't think you'll be happy that all your cycle of friends, you are poor. When you are in trouble, who do you call? You should save today, so that one day you can also be called among the richest friends, or not because of selfish or greedy reason, but because you'll be able to help people in need or people in situation. I was sharing with my prayer members that the reason why Ghana is now in trouble and we have now bowed to China is because of poverty. Just imagine that one day one of the ladies here or the men here are rich. They will be able to rescue Ghana. And now we Christians, we bow to the Islamic powers, we bow to the all kinds of Chinese gods because of lack of money. And so save not because of selfish reasons, but because you want to be out of certain situation. When you are poor, you even sell your own dignity. You sell your own self-respect. A lot of people would have survived some sicknesses if they had the means to cure it, or they had the money to treat it. Not everything it was the time of God, or it was the will of God. Some of the things that we have been through or we are going through, it is our own lack of discipline in some years ago, or some certain years that we could have saved. We thought, oh, anything comes, every party you are there, every club you are there, everywhere you are there. But learn to save. As I say, I'm someone who give a lot. I'm someone that almost every week somebody will, Mama, I need this and that and that. I do that, but I also ensure that the little I can save, I save. So if I'm saving, you member, GlowLink member, you should save, so that one day we can all sit on the same table. One day I want us to all sit on the same table, that you not come and be ashamed or say that, oh, this place is for rich people, it's for this caliber of women, it's for this caliber of person, so that we will all sit on one table and share our success story. So that is a little, I would say, based on the presentations done by done by our brother and our sister. Thank you, Semi. I leave the rest to you, and then we close. So please, can we give out your number, Mr. Isaac, or should we give Francisca's number for any enquiries or for any other investment opportunities to be contacted? Thank you.
I think my number will be fine. So Franca doesn't have to be the third person who suffer.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Franca, is it possible to test this number in the chat so that everybody will pick it up straight away from here, because not everybody is a GlowLink member.
Okay, I think he can, since he's on the call, he can just share.
Okay, Mr. Isaac, please, you can share your number on the chat or in the chat for us. And
yes,
please, I'm repeating it. My head is on it. This program was put together for a reason. My head is on it. It's a genuine, and it's not an investment that you pay 100 cedis and in the next 1 month you get 100 cedis. Know that. So that when investment comes, I told you when the first return came, I told Francisca the 50 cedis, no, this money is too small was a return. But if you are patient enough and you take your eye off, in the next 5 years, 10 years, you appreciate it. So that is what I would say. Just invest and every day don't be calculating. Calculating today how much is on it. Forget about it. And the next 10 years, 5 years, you see how much you'll be getting. So thank you.
Okay,
so I've typed the number in the chat box. I hope it's seen.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we are drawing to the end of our session. I believe it has been insightful. Does anyone have a question? I'm guessing it's a no. Okay. So 3 things I'm taking from today's session: be knowledgeable. Okay, whether in the investment or in the product you want to invest in, whatever you want to invest in, just have the knowledge of whatever you want to invest in. At worst, just have basic knowledge on investment before you venture, even before you speak to the expert. Just have the basic knowledge on investment. Also be diligent, whether as a business trying to win investors or sponsors or partners. Be diligent. And even as an individual investing on your own, be diligent. Make sure that if you are claiming to be putting down this amount, you do that diligently. And also you need to delay your cravings. You don't have to gratify your cravings expensively at the expense of your future. So you may not get, or you may not be, you may try to delay whatever you feel for now in order to enjoy it later in the future. And you do that by investing. So what you would have used to buy your wigs, your bags, your shoes, you can invest that, and then later in the future you realize that you have twice or thrice the money or the amount of what you wanted to buy. So these are my 3 takeaways, and I'm sure everyone on the call is also blessed. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac Esel. Our mommy says she will put her head on the line, so we'll be speaking to you shortly, so that
yes. That's why my whole body is on it. Not only my head, my whole body.
I'm not happy. We just come here. Then Miss Simmons, thank you so much. Thank you for giving us insights from overseas. I mean, we are grateful. Now we know how it feels like investing over there, or the mindset to carry. So quickly, before we close, one last thing. Mr. Esel and then Miss Simmons would like to know one investment mindset or financial advice you'd like to give to us. One mindset, or let me say something you did about investment that you would advise us to do also. I don't know if you get my question. So an investment advice you would give us, something you practiced yourself and then you like to teach us to do also in order to be financially independent.
Okay,
Isaac, go ahead.
all right, sure. Like I said, discipline. Discipline has been my biggest savior. Let me put it that way. And with everything you do, just make sure you know what you are doing. Be intentional about your decisions. Don't don't do things without not understanding them. So with everything, whether it's a business decision as an entrepreneur, maybe you're going to buy these number of goods, whatever you do, make sure you understand. And so I've said discipline, and then the last thing I'll say is that educate yourself. It is very, very important. If when I moved from tailoring to asset management, it was a very big change because tailoring is more of debit and credit. Obi Discover, no IGA, draw, no Yaman, right? But
Yeah.
moving to asset management, where you're open to a very wide range of investment products. And to be honest, this I never said. I don't think I've said that to Francisca, but when I joined Blackstar and I heard about investing and I was doing it myself, I lost a lot of money. Reason being that I didn't understand what I was doing and I wasn't reading about it. All I'll see is, oh, this stock has gone up 100%. Oh, you didn't put in money, then tomorrow out. That's how I went about it. But make sure that you yourself understand what you are doing and don't be shy to talk to someone about the money matters. Make sure you have a very good circle of friends. I have a group of people I manage, and they always meet to chill. That's the word. They go out on trips and everything. But one day they sat down and were like, why are we spending all the money on trips? Why not come together and form a group and always be investing? And since then, I mean, it's funny when we meet them on a quarterly basis and they're like, Isaac, like the investment is doing well. I want to bring more and more money. And I'm like, it's a collective effort. No money is too small. If it's even 100 cities, one day you'd get there. So educate yourself and make sure that you're being diligent, and then you'll be very fine. That is my advice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Simmons.
It was as though Isaac was in my mind because everything that I had in mind, he said it. But I'll just take it from his last point. So I'm re-echoing everything he has said, but then even emphasize on the last part, right? Your network is your net worth. So there are people, trust me, there are people within yourself. You need to define your circles and very intentional as you grow, right? There are people that this would be a fallacy to them. When you bring up like this investment, they would boycott it, right? You need to be around people that would help you grow, would help you even with your investment goal. If you're saying, okay, in the next 3 years, I want to be able to save 20,000, and this person, the people you rub mind with, didn't see any possibility in that is not the kind of person to be. Not to say that you're going to desert them, but it's not a kind of person to really, find around like that. So I think be intentional about your circle, like have that inner versus outer circle that will push you towards your goal, that will push you to becoming disciplined, right? And Isaac already gave an example. And I think another thing I would add is their financial literacy. Like I've said it already, even in the best of finance classes, they don't teach personal finance. Even in the best of finance schools, business schools, they don't teach personal finance. Personal finance is personal. You got to do it by yourself. Invest in financial literacy, get understanding. Like information is out there. YouTube, there are tons of them, but you will find credible ones. Speak to people about, things that new terms, new jargons, research about them, and then take action. I think my last one would be take action. I hear people say, 10 years is a long time, or 10 years is, if I'm going to, when will 10 years come? But trust me, you remember this day, the next 10 years. You wish and if you don't take the actions. You don't put in the action. You wish you had done that, right? So it's your biggest advantage now is time, right? And so please take action. Don't let this be like your founder has put her life down, for you. It's very important. Don't see it. 10 years is going to come if the Lord tarries. 10 years is going to come, 20 years is going to come, 30 years is going to come. You don't want your golden years to also suffer, right? So when you are in your retirement years, you don't want it to suffer. That's why you'd have to do it. And then be consistent with it. Like Isaac said, the financial discipline is we cannot overemphasize that. Be disciplined. If you say it's 5 cedis, you're going to put in the 5 cedis and be consistent. That is the power of compounding. It is the consistency that is going to birth the growth that you want. Thank you, Na.
Thank you very much. We are honored to have both of you. We've learned a lot, and we will definitely call on you the next time we'll have such a session. So, also soon we've come to the end of today's session. It was great having you, Mr. Asil. It was great having you, Mr. Moss. Thank you very much. And
Okay, I want to also say a big thank you to you both. We are very grateful. We are very, very grateful. And I believe we will call on you again soon to come again, maybe on a different topic, but the same area. So we are very grateful. And so my last take also to every member is that please save, please invest. And the moment you start investing, you feel like a rich woman. I don't know whether I'm the only one who feel that way, but even if you have invested 50 pesos, when you are walking, your shoulders are high. You feel like, hey, now, I don't know, Vanska, please, am I the only one? But the moment you start investing even 20 pesos, when you are going, it's like you become also very conscious. That is something I feel like when you start investing even 50 pesos, your appetite to waste money reduces like drastically, because always thinking about, let me push it, let me do, like, you don't buy things anyhow, you don't buy unnecessary things that you know you wouldn't need it. So please do that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. It's a wrap, and see you next week.
Okay, bye. Thank you, Emmy. That was perfect.
Thank you, Emmy. Thank you.